My name is Craig Alexander, and I am a professional landscape artist. And one of my goals in life is to help thousands and tens of thousands of other artists learn how to sell their work, and eventually be able to quit their full-time job and do art, or their normal job and do art full-time, and quit their day job. So that's my goal. This is called How to Sell Art by Professional Artists. So I'm Craig, and this here is Kyle Pickard. He's an incredible video content producer, and he works with all kinds of businesses. And we want to share some of our horror stories of all the things we've messed up in trying to sell our art. I'm obviously a landscape photographer. He's a video creator, very different kinds of art, but it's still art, and it's still selling art. All right, take it away.
So I know that you talk a lot about producing and then selling, right? So let's start there.
Yes. Okay, cool. So I want to give you like some embarrassing stories. I thought I was an artist. I was like 18, 19 years old, and I made all this art, and I remember posting it on social media, not getting like any response. And then I would like hang it up on a wall in like a store, and like nothing was happening, and I was going crazy. I was like, I have no talent.
What does that mean?
So like I found like some galleries that will like allow you to like have stuff on the wall.
So you're not talking about like Walmart or something, right?
No, like little tiny like mom and pop stores.
See, because knowing you, I wouldn't put it past you.
Stop it. Okay. So yeah, I would like put it on the wall, and nobody would buy it, and it's so embarrassing, and it's like it makes you feel awful, like you have no talent. And for the longest time, I was like, oh my god, I suck, and I realized I was doing something fundamentally wrong. I was producing what I wanted, and then trying to make somebody buy it, rather than find out what is actively being sought after, and then fulfilling that need. Now, there's obviously two kinds of art. There's some where you're just inspired and you like paint whatever, and the market will find it. And you know the greatest painters in history have done that. But especially when you're starting out and you're trying, and you definitely want to sell your stuff, it's definitely a better idea to at least to start. And you can gauge it for yourself. But starting with finding out what's already being actively sought after, and finding a niche that nobody's fully doing, and then finding something that you also love to do, and then they kind of overlap, and then doing that. Anyway, I've got so many horror stories, putting up a bunch of stuff or doing a bunch of paid ads on something, and crickets, nobody buys, and I'm like, I'm a failure at life.
I've had the exact same.
Give one of your examples.
Ooh, so I think mine is kind of a accumulation of examples.
Give your worst, most embarrassing example. What was the offer? How badly did it bomb? How much money did you spend on the ads?
Part of it was the offer itself. There wasn't one.
Oh my god!
I spent, I want to say it wasn't much, but I spent like $75 just promoting my Instagram.
Yeah.
Just trying to get followers.
Okay.
Now,
just like my stuff.
Yeah, and the reason that I did it at that exact time is because I had posted some videos that I thought were really good and doing some stuff like that, and I was like...
So you made art, and then you're like, buy my stuff?
Yeah, so I made art, and I was like, go follow me so that eventually you can buy my stuff.
Yeah.
I gained maybe 2 followers. I got 1 DM, and that was it.
So those are $37.50 followers.
So this doesn't necessarily go with the show, but the biggest mistake that I actually made was that the video was not the ad. I had put an ad of just some picture. I think it was a picture of me.
So you spent all this time making the videos, and then you didn't make the video as
because I was like, they're going to go to my profile, and they'll see the videos there.
Of course.
That did not happen.
Oh my god. I spent hundreds of dollars in like Facebook ads, like putting like terrible copy, terrible photos up, and wondered why nothing ever happened.
Now it's like, geez, why would I do that?
Yeah. There's definitely like strategies and tactics and exact steps, checklists to do before you put out an ad and stuff, but we'll get that another time.
All right, so let's move to the next one. Yeah. You had mentioned that a mistake was not finding out what's needed, basically riffing off of the first one, not finding out what's needed versus...
Totally. And I mean, there is a certain like artistic purity to just finding what's in your heart and your soul and putting that on with paint or photography or music or whatever, and that's really cool. And a tiny minority of people in the world are just so freaking talented that that'll just take off. They put out their stuff on YouTube and it blows up, and all the power to you if that works for you. If it doesn't work for me, because I know it didn't work for me, because I guess I'm not talented enough, I was like, let me find what the market is actively searching for, and then find out what's not quite fulfilled in the market, and then find something that I also love doing and see where those intersect, and then going heavy on there. the first picture I ever sold, I was 6 years old. I've never told this story before, ever. I just remember it now. I was 6 years old, and it was lunchtime at school, and I was in a cafeteria. And I went to a sailing school when I was younger. We learned how to sail and windsurf, and it was like an outdoorsy thing. There was like classes in the morning, and then there was sailing school in the afternoon. It was really cool. It was in Florida.
Wow.
And I remember I had like these crayons, and I like painted my best drew with crayons my best sailboat with like a little flag and like a flag on top, and I like signed my name and stuff, and I thought it was so good, and I took it around to everybody in the lunchroom, and nobody bought it, and it was like soul crushing. I was like, I suck. Like, I'm never gonna do art again. And I remember later during art class, I went around, because we were all like sailors, like we could all like sail our own little boats. We were like 5, 6, 7. It was like actually a really cool school. Some other people were doing sailboats, and I found somebody who's like way more talented than me, who was actually doing like a really good job doing sailboats. And I'm like, hey, can I sell that for you? And I'll give you half of the money. They're like, sure. So I went around and I was like, hey, would you like the sailboat? And somebody bought it. And they gave me $1 for it. 4 quarters. Like, I'll never forget like how those 4 quarters felt. And I gave 2 quarters to the guy and said, paint me another, or draw me another one. Within like a few hours, I had like an army of like 6 or 7 people like drawing for me. And then I was like going around the school selling them. And it was so fun.
That's awesome.
But the first time I didn't ask what was needed and wanted. I just assumed it, and that wasn't good enough. So I was like, okay, maybe, like I asked what was needed and wanted. They're like, well, more detail, a better picture. And because I couldn't really draw better than that, I went and found somebody who's doing something better already, which fit what was actually wanted. And then I connected the source and the person willing to spend money on $1, 4 quarters, and it worked.
I would say,
like I'm like so red in the face on the inside here. Like, it was such a crushing feeling. Like, I was like so proud of this drawing, and 25 different times nobody bought, and I was like, I failed at life.
My version of that was when I started my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I was just picking any random song that I wanted to do a version of.
Yeah.
And
I mean, artistically, it's valid. If you want to sell your art, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
It started, like, the channel started clicking when I was doing stuff that people were actually searching for.
Yeah.
Now here's the difference. I think that this is important to say too, because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, well, now you're just selling out." There were songs that I specifically would still not do, even if people were searching them, because I was like, that doesn't fit in with my artistic integrity, right? So
you gotta kind of see where they.
So there's like you make that Venn diagram of like what's working, what do I want to make, and whatever's intersecting, boom, you make that.
Yeah, as long as it's within the circle of what you want to make, it's not selling out, or it's not cheating, or it's not whatever.
I remember making all those videos, and you check like every 5 minutes, and it was like 2 views, 2 views, 3 views, and then it was all me refreshing the page, just getting the views.
So you're like seeing your own views?
Yeah, so I was seeing my own views.
That's really
so let's move into the next one. You have here trying to create traffic rather than finding traffic.
That's a good one. How are we doing for time, by the way?
We are at 8 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So there's a marketing concept of go to where your traffic or your ideal customer already is, rather than trying to bring them to you. So you have something in marketing called congregations. This is a topic
like a church?
Kind of. I mean, congregation is just where everybody comes together. So it can be in a church, but it can also be somewhere else. So Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels, actually put this in his book, .com Secrets. And he talks about find where your ideal customers are already congregating. So let's say you want to sell like a health food supplement or healthy food. You might find people who shop at Whole Foods or Fresh Market or farmers markets or whatever. If you like car nuts, who goes to car shows? Who subscribes to like, I don't know, Need for Speed or whatever YouTube shows go around like car stuff, and you'll find where they already are. That's far, far easier than setting up shop somewhere and saying, hey, car enthusiasts. No, you go to where they are and finding where they are. I had this like, oh my God, so embarrassing. I did an art show once. I think this was in New York. No, wait. I think this was, it was just north of the city in New York. I used to live just north of New York City.
I'm so excited for this. I can tell it's going to be good.
And I remember I went to an art show that was totally not my target market. And this was all like fine pastels, and it was like still life, and it was people who had like been to art college and were like super talented, way better than I. And I was like, hey, Skylines, and people just scoffed at them. And I think I spent like $600 on a table.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't make any sales.
Wow.
It was super embarrassing.
The equivalent of that, this wasn't even me. It just sticks out in my head so much. there was, I hate to use this as an example because of the stigma they have. Nickelback had a concert.
I love Nickelback.
And they somehow, it wasn't even their fault. Yeah. Somebody booked them for like a metal, like an all-day metal show. And they actually have some songs that are a little bit on the metal side. Like it's not like an acoustic singer-songwriter at the show. Anyways, they were completely just booed off stage.
Oh, that's cringy.
But they were already headlining at this point. Yep. Like they were doing well.
But they got booed off stage because it was.
They got booed off stage in the first song. Like the video's on YouTube. Like you can go find it.
I mean, that's so crushing as an artist, right? You put your heart and soul into this creation, and like getting 0 views on YouTube is like equivalent of being booed off stage in a live venue. Right. It's the same thing.
And so I remember that. Like it stuck out to me so much because I was so heavy in the music world back then that I watched it and I said, I'm going to make sure that I never show up in the wrong place.
Yeah. Yeah. Go to where your congregation is. Find, like, you don't learn from our mistakes. Find where your congregation is. Don't try to create a new congregation. If you're like an A-list celebrity, you can be like, hey, I'm doing this thing over here, and people will flock to you, obviously. But until then, obviously. All right, last one. Do we still have time?
Yeah.
Got to keep this under 15 minutes.
We're good. We're at 11 minutes.
Okay.
We got 2 more.
Okay, go.
You talked about confusing your friends with your target market.
Yes, so I want to like elaborate a little bit more on target market. There's something in marketing called, again, Russell Brunson concept. I'm a big fan. You can probably tell. He talks about the avatar. An avatar is like a fictional, idealized single person. It's not a group of people, like people who like whatever. It's one person. Imagine a fictional person. Let's say they're 43 years old. They make $200,000 a year. They go to this church.
His name's Stanley.
Name's Stanley.
Wait.
Here's the picture.
What's the name of yours?
I haven't actually fully created this avatar yet.
Okay.
And,
I haven't either. So.
Okay, but like, what does their haircut look like? Do they have kids? What schools do their kids go to? And you build out a profile of exactly who you're marketing to. Market to a single person, not a group. So I've been to a low-end mall and I tried to sell my stuff, and it was like pulling teeth. It was like they wanted stuff for like $20, and I was selling stuff for like average $200-$300, and it was just so hard. So it's like, know your target market. Your friends, the point I was trying to make here is your friends on Facebook or Instagram might not necessarily be that target market. They might be in a different income level. I know, like when you're young and starting out and you're selling pictures or paintings or whatever for $500 to $1,000, your friends, your contemporaries are not going to have $1,000 to when they're rent or they don't have their own place, whatever.
So, I have an answer for this, but what do you do if your target market is not anywhere in your circle of influence?
You have to find your congregation.
You gotta move.
Oh yeah, you gotta move. Like I moved to Nashville from Florida. My whole family.
I moved to Nashville from Connecticut.
Nice. Yeah, I moved from Florida because this is a affluent, wealthy area, and they can afford art that I do. I also love Nashville, so it wasn't like too hard of a stretch.
I love that our answer was both moving to Nashville.
Nashville's such a great place. I love that we independently did that from like 2 different sides without like knowing each other. That's really cool. So your friends, like if you post to 500 friends, hey, here's some art, buy it, and none of them are in your target market, that doesn't mean that 500 targeted people said no to your art. That means 500 wrong people. If you go to a metal concert venue and you're playing like a piccolo or you're playing like a violin, I don't know, violins are pretty awesome. But
wait. Can I take this one over?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, I started in 5th grade. I played flute.
Okay.
Flute. I picked up guitar in 8th grade, and I started a metal band.
Wow.
Yes, for
that's
2.5 years. I was experimenting with my flute, running it through all my guitar pedals to try and figure out how I could make the flute exist in a metal band. I'm not saying it wasn't successful, and I'm not saying that somebody shouldn't do it, but it didn't work for me.
I love that example. But yeah, like your friends aren't necessarily your target market, so don't do your market research on your friends if they don't represent your ideal client. Another thing really quick here is sell to an affluent area.
You got 1 minute.
Sell in an affluent area. We're going to have to skip the last one then.
Okay.
Sell in an affluent area where people have the discretionary income to buy art. One last thing I'm going to say here is dedicate yourself to becoming a sales professional. Sales can be a dirty word in this world, but sales is essentially what you're doing when you're selling your art, and there's no reason why the tech, the technology, the ins and outs of how to sell, insurance, how to sell cars, how to sell houses, how to sell supplements, how to sell, I don't know what else gets sold.
Everything.
Sofas, mattresses, just like things. The technology of how to sell a thing applies to art. So thinking that you can sell art magically without knowing how to sell things is very naive, and I am so guilty of it until I dedicated myself to becoming a sales professional. Highly recommend Grant Cardone. Russell Brunson's always awesome. Also awesome. Gary Vaynerchuk, amazing person to follow. I'm going to sign off here. I hope you loved the episode. Let me know what else you want to know. And thank you.